Hello everybody, welcome back to another Borderlands 2 video. Sorry the upload speed has slowed down a little bit lately. I've been crazy busy lately. My job recently had a return to office policy, so I just have a lot less time because I was working remotely previously. And I am also looking for a new job as a result of that. So I have been interviewing and applying for jobs like crazy, so I just really haven't had time to record much. But once I kind of get that new job and get settled in a little bit, I do expect to get back to a little bit more of a regular cadence. At least I hope so, because I do still want to record and stuff. I'm not just quitting, but yeah, just haven't had as much time lately, basically. And yeah, hopefully I will in the future. Fingers crossed. But anyway, today we're going to be doing a Krieg versus Son of Crawmerax, which I believe is like the last one, or I guess I haven't done like Vermi and Master G. I might do Vermi on Krieg. I mean, I've already done it on this account. I just didn't record it at the time, but I might do that as well if people are interested in seeing, just all the raid bosses. I did get a gauge kill on Vermi that I did record, so I'll probably upload that. But pretty simple boss. I don't think there's like a ton to show off there, but why not, I suppose, just to complete the list of raid bosses. But yeah, Son of Crawl was kind of the last one that I considered like as a major raid boss, I suppose, that I was missing. This one's a really fun one, actually. I feel like this is maybe one of the better ones to start out with if you're newer to raiding. I think it has a nice mixture of, difficulty, fun fight, it's really not too crazy of a fight or anything. So, it's pretty repeatable. I guess the only major downside to Son of Crawl is like the loot kind of sucks for a raid boss. It's pretty bad. If you're playing on the UCP or BL2 fix, they do improve his drop rates pretty significantly, so it's much more worthwhile. So that's something to keep in mind. But if you're playing on vanilla, definitely not really the best raid boss to farm, but it is a fun one. It's just a fun fight. So yeah. I do commentate the kill on this one. I've already recorded it. I'm coming back and recording this little intro a couple weeks later because I've just been super busy. But yeah, I will have some live commentary kind of explaining what I'm doing, but also wanted to record an intro that explains the general premise here so you guys know what to do. But yeah, we have the grog nozzle, pretty standard. This is just to keep us alive. Pretty critical on just about any raid for Krieg or any character. The Herald, again, we don't really use this. This is just, if we lose some health, we can shoot the Herald and then quickly switch to the grog to heal. So that's what that is there for. And then we will start with the shock conference call. And you will also need a fire conference call. These are both essential for the kill. I mean, there's other weapons that work pretty well against Son of Crawl. He's not that tanky. I've seen people use like the toothpick, I believe. You could probably do the hail. Lead storm, maybe. Like, there's definitely some options there. Toothpick, I think I mentioned that, but yeah, I would say this is probably one of the better ones, one of the faster ones if you're going for speed. But Son of Crawl is like easy enough to where you actually could probably use a lot of things and get away with it. So just kind of preference. You can maybe use interfacer. You could probably use like the blockhead even. So yeah, this is not a high gear requirement raid in my opinion at all. But yeah, so basically, and then we have, the final thing we have is the Norfleet. That's just in case we go down. Generally not really going to need this. You can use whatever rocket launcher you want here, but it's very easy to get up in this fight if you do go down. So I don't even think you really need an Orfleet. Just about anything will work. Yeah, those are the weapons. And then we have the Flame of the Firehawk. This is kind of what's going to proc Bloodbath for us and keep us alive with the Grog Nozzle out. Pretty similar to like what we were doing against Terramorphous. And then we have the Legendary Reaper, pretty classic. This will be a Reaper kill with Krieg, just using Bloodbath. Because this raid spawns so many enemies that you can constantly kill. It like never ends, so you can just keep proccing Bloodbath. It's great, so perfect comm. Stormfront to start out. Like you'll see when I start the fight, I hold the grog and throw the Stormfront to like keep myself healed and build up some stacks at the very beginning of the fight, and then we'll just switch to the Crossfire for the rest of the fight so we can keep him slagged while we're shooting him. And then just Firebone, Shockbone, and just switch between the two depending on what you're using. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the basic rundown, and the general premise is essentially, we're going to go in there, start the fight holding the grog, throw a Stormfront, get the Flame of the Firehawk going, get our stacks up. And then, the first phase is the hardest part because we don't have anything to proc the Reaper comm off of, so you're not doing a ton of damage. But basically, we kind of just want to get in there, get some stacks up, start slagging him, and then shoot him until he goes to his second phase. So he is... You can use shock the whole fight, from what I understand, and that will work just fine. But during the first phase, from what I understand, you definitely want to use shock, and then the rest of the fight, you can actually switch to fire, and it'll do a lot of damage. I believe the way it works is Crawmerax's like crit spots and stuff like that, they are weak to shock. But like if you're in the second phase and beyond, if you like shoot him in the stomach, like shoot him in the belly, fire damage, it will actually be more effective. And of course, you know, since this is like Hellborn Krieg with all these buffs and stuff, it's even more effective. So yeah, start the fight with, once you first phase him with the shock conference call, just use the fire conference call for the rest of the fight. And don't aim for his crit spots, generally speaking. You kind of just want to aim for his belly. It'll do more damage. Since I believe that is considered flesh, I believe that's why. He's kind of like a... I guess like maybe it's best to think of him as like an armored psycho, right? Where, you know, part of they're considered an enemy that is weak to corrosive, but if you shoot them in the head, it's still flesh. So you could deal normal damage with a fire weapon if you shoot them in the head. Think of Son of Crawmerax pretty much like that, but it's basically reversed. His body is the part that's weak to fire. But yeah, pretty much that's kind of the fight. Like after the first phase, it's really easy. You can just walk around with the Grog and the Flame of the Firehawk to proc Bloodbath. And then every time he comes up, just blast him with the conference call and crossfires. That's genuinely pretty much it. Pretty simple fight. This one should be, like, anybody can do this one on Krieg. I mean, you might fail a couple times, but you guys can definitely get this one down pretty quick. And it's a fun fight and a good way to get into raiding, so I'd highly recommend it. All right, and then skill tree. Go over to the wall so he'll get out of the way. Yep. One of my subscribers recommended I do this when trying to show the skill tree, and it does work like a charm. Walking up to the wall like gets rid of him completely, so that's great. Yeah, here's the skill tree. Again, as I was saying before, like his body, like his belly or whatever, is weak to fire, so we're not going to be critting him. So Pain is Power is once again actually a solid choice here. Yeah, in conjunction with the fact that kind of what I touched on in the Terra video, where you know, the conference call against a big enemy where there's so many pellets hitting it, Pain is Power tends to do a little bit better. So yeah, the DPS from Pain is Power is really, really nice here, and we do want to take it. But otherwise, pretty straightforward build. And this time we actually can take Blood Explosion because there's just so many enemies that keep spawning. It actually doesn't really matter if they Blood Explode or whatever. It won't, like, you know, we're not going to die because more will just keep coming. It actually kind of helps keep the mobs in check a little bit because sometimes they can get out of control. So yeah, we're fine taking Blood Explosion here. And then the rest is a very standard Krieg build, I'd say. Just, you know, gun Krieg. And then, yeah, no badass rank. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. And I will just show you guys the kill. Hope you enjoy. All right. Let's get this kill started. See how it goes. Make sure I have everything correct. Yeah. All right. Go ahead and throw that. Okay. And then switch to the crossfire. And just try to get some damage on him. Surprised he hasn't hit us yet. There we go. Alright, try to get him to phase. Okay, there we go. Now this kill gets a lot easier because we can actually use the Reaper Comm. Go ahead and switch to our fire weapons as well. Okay. Alright, yeah, now we have plenty of opportunities to get Bloodlust as well. Pretty much infinite revives, so yeah, as soon as you get to this portion, it's a lot easier. Really, the first part of the skill is significantly harder. Can't really see. Where is he?
some good damage there. Alright, I think we got him phased again. Yeah, we just kind of rinse and repeat and until he is dead. Okay, we're gonna come back. They might have killed too many of these guys, but pretty sure they just keep coming, so it should be fine. Come on, Crawl. Where you at, buddy? There he is. And we'll just go ahead and shoot him. Nice. Yeah, once you kind of get going here with the Krieg, it's a pretty simple kill. Just have to be a little careful. Don't want to go down while you're using the conference call. So obviously just switch to the Grog when necessary, but you know, generally speaking, pretty simple kill. Especially because it's just perfect for the Reaper comm. I'd say this is a pretty easy raid boss for our boy. Alright, make sure you slag. And no problem. Yep, pretty easy kill. See if he drops anything cool. We gotta come clean up here, but oh my gosh, Arcade incinerators are more dangerous, as we all thought. Nah, it's mostly just because I can't damage them because they're on fire. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Son of Crawl is, I don't know, like probably one of the easier raid bosses just in general. He is a pretty fun one though. You know, having like 5 million opportunities to get fight for your life is obviously a huge bonus just on any character, but it's obviously a huge boon on Krieg in particular because there's like a million things to proc Bloodbath on here. So it's a very simple kill for Krieg and a pretty fun one. I just wish the loot was better. That is one thing I really like about UCP. Or sorry, not UCP. I'm not using UCP. BL2 fix. BL2 fix increases the loot of just raid bosses in general to make them more worthwhile, which to me makes a ton of sense. I think it's pretty lame that like certain raid bosses, like, you know, they just have terrible drops or they're not really rewarding for getting the kill. Like I feel like if you kill a raid boss, you should guaranteed be rewarded at least something pretty good. Like it's challenging content. You should get good gear. So it's always a bummer, like with Son of Crawl, who is considered a raid boss. You kill him and you get absolutely nothing. So yeah, at least in this context, with the UCP, sorry, I keep saying that, BL2 fix. With BL2 fix, you do get some better loot at least. So that is nice. Yeah, here's the build. Basically all you need is the Grog and the conference call. The Herald is there in case, you know, if we want to quickly shoot the Herald and switch to the Grog for a little extra healing in a pinch. But generally speaking, we didn't really use it. And same thing with the Norfleet. If we go down or something, we can use it to get up. But honestly, if you play this correctly, as you saw, all I used was the Grog and the conference call. So yeah, that's really all you need. And of course, the Flame of the Firehawk to continuously proc our Bloodbath and keep us alive with the Grog nozzle. Legendary Reaper comm with the Raised Toast. Ideally, you would have a Power Toast comm. Pain is Power is really good against Crawl because same thing with like Terramorphous. All the extra projectiles do with the conference call do a lot of damage with Pain is Power, and you're not always critting. So Pain is Power does do pretty well against these raid bosses with the conference call in particular. So yeah, if you can get a Power Toast comm that boosts Pain is Power +6, the first phase will be a lot easier. But as you guys saw, absolutely no problem even with the Raised Toast. So yeah, just something like that is good to start. And then once you phase him, you keep the Reaper on because you will be able to proc Bloodbath for the rest of the fight. And then a Crossfire or a Bouncing Bonnie is great. You want to keep him slagged. Stormfront at the start to just keep yourself healed a little bit and build some stacks, but that's pretty much it. And then a Firebone and a Shockbone for our DPS purposes. There's the build one more time. Nothing crazy. No badass rank. Yeah, that's it.
I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.